What do you think about Trump's crypto summit this Friday, March 7th at the White House? Do you think it's going to have a profound effect on crypto? Do you think it's going to be a non-event? Do you think it's going to be a sell the rumor event or buy the rumor, sell the news event? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to get into some macroeconomic news that I think is very, very, very positive for crypto. It could be very positive for crypto. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. First, before we get into that, just know that every day in crypto is an adventure. And if you want to join me for that adventure, please hit the subscribe button now. And before we go any further, just hit the like button. I really would appreciate it. And with that, let's get into it right now. We're going to talk about the macroeconomic factors. Let's get into the money supply. There's a big correlation between the money supply, M2, and crypto price. And if you look at this, obviously this is a chart dating back to 1959 when we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, we did, but not nearly the money that's in the system now. And you see this big spike right here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Let's make that a little bit bigger. This big spike right here was COVID. Huge dump of money in there. No wonder crypto pumped at that point. And then we came back down the last couple of years, or last year and a half. And then we're pumping back up. This is a December of 24, and we've gone up since then. So the money supply dictates if you have more money in your pocket that's just burning a hole, you're going to put it somewhere. And if you feel comfortable about the money you have, you're more likely to invest. And you're more likely to invest in riskier assets like crypto. Another thing I like to look at is the overall plan right now. You know, if you look at the price of oil, was about $86 a barrel back in, about a year ago almost. Now it's $66 a barrel. If you have to pay less for oil, you pay less for gas, you pay less to transport goods and services from to and fro, you pay less to get to work. And the more you pay less, the more inflation comes down, right? So this was a big factor. The last 4 years, the last administration, the price of oil remained high the entire time. So that was going to, if you don't have more money in your pocket, again, if it costs you $200 a month to fill up your car instead of $100 a month, that's $100 you didn't have to invest in things like crypto, stocks, bonds, or at the store, right? Or buy that whatever you get for $100 these days, which is barely lunch. That's not true. Lunch is about $20, but neither here nor there. Look, more money in your pocket means more money for crypto, and we're heading in that direction. And the whole point of all of this, more money in the system, printing more money in the system, more oil, lower oil prices. The whole point of this is to weaken the dollar. And that is the point. Tariffs, they say it weakens the dollar. But look where we are right now with the dollar index. This is kind of like the what a dollar gets you. And if it gets you less, that's weakening, right? So this is at 104.1. It was up at 109 just, 2 months ago? And so the dollar is starting to weaken. Well, all this leads to one thing, hopefully. And if we have a weakening dollar, well, A, it's easier to pay off your debt when your dollar isn't worth as much. So that's one reason you want to weaken the dollar with inflation. But it also, there's a much more bullish outlook on the Fed lowering rates. And we've talked about quantitative easing. I don't think quantitative easing is going to happen this year, probably not next year, because people mix up quantitative easing, and this is just something that irks me. Quantitative easing and lower the rates are two separate things. You're not going to have quantitative easing until you have zero rates. But you could have reduction of quantitative tightening, which is the buying of assets, which raises their price and lowers the interest rate. So if you're buying an asset, the price is going to go up, which effectively decreases the yield. Well, what they've been doing is selling the assets. That's quantitative tightening, is when they sell their assets on the books, and they had $6 trillion of assets on the books. At one point, they had $10 trillion. They sold off about $4 trillion, which is why mortgage rates have stayed high. That's why Treasury yields the 10-year Treasury yields have stayed high. Well, until those yields come down, until those yields on mortgage-backed securities and treasuries come down, you're not going to have as comfortable of a housing market. And when people don't get cheap money, they don't buy houses, right? They don't buy houses as much. And when people can buy houses and they feel good about their situation, they have more money in their pockets and they pay less for their debt, it all leads to one thing. Lots of things. But one thing I'm interested in, which is buying more crypto. And the more crypto you buy, the more price goes up. And their house is worth more money. They borrow, beg, and steal, and they buy crypto, amongst other things. I'm not suggesting that. This is certainly not financial advice. Actually, that's terrible financial advice. Anyone gives you the advice to borrow money to invest in something is terrible advice. Now, all this is coming together, and then right now, in the next 24 hours, maybe 40 hours, whenever, it depends on when you watch this, not 40 hours, it's more like 24. But there's going to be a White House crypto summit, March 7th. Now, this could be a very big event. It could be more of a discussion. It's a round table with 20 to 25 people. Here's a release from David Sachs from the White House. He says this was on February 28th, which I believe was Friday, February 28th, almost a week ago. He said the White House announced today that President Trump will host and deliver remarks at the first ever White House Crypto Summit on Friday, March 7th. Attendees will include prominent founders, CEOs, investors from the crypto industry, as well as members of the President's Working Group on Digital Assets. The summit will be chaired by the White House AI and crypto czar David Sachs and ministered by the Working Group Executive Director Bo Hines. Pretty big deal. Trump, this is totally opposite. If Biden had invited people to the White House, it probably would have been a trick to arrest them. And it's the opposite with Trump. Now, who's attending this is very showing. Now, I've seen lots of conflicting information. This is from Cointelegraph. It says Michael Saylor will be there. He's excited about it. He's posted about it. He's tweeted about it or X'd about it. David Bailey from Bitcoin Magazine, obviously a journalist. Matt Hung from Paradigm. JP Richardson from Exodus. Kyle Samani from Multicoin Capital. Zach Witkoff. This is the co-founder of the Trump-linked World Liberty Financial. Of course, he's going to be there. Sergey Nazarov from Chainlink, Armstrong from Coinbase, Tenev from Robinhood, Sethi from Kraken, Marzalek, Chris from Crypto.com. We have the major players, and of course, Brad Garlinghouse. And I've seen another correspondence that says, this is shocking. I mean, of all shocking things, that CZ from Binance will be there. Now, that would be, I mean, CZ, they just jailed him pretty much in the last administration, and he's going to show up at the White House to take part in this. Now, what are they going to talk about? What are they going to talk about at this summit? That's the real question. I'm sure the White House has an agenda, but I'm sure the White House wants to get feedback from these powerful individuals in the crypto space about what they'd like to see as a vision for moving forward on crypto. And I'm sure every single one of these guys will be pushing their own chain, their own coin, their own CEX, DEX, not DEX, centralized exchange like Crypto.com, Kraken, Robinhood, Coinbase. They're all going to be pushing their narratives, but at the same time, I hope they work together to come up with something that is meaningful for foundational support for the crypto industry. Now, the big question is, now Trump's bringing all these people here. Is it to get information or is it to give information? I don't know how good Trump is at listening. He's got to be somewhat good at it. But is he there to listen or is he there to talk? And if he's there to talk, what's he going to say? Is he going to announce a strategic reserve for Bitcoin? They already announced it in a tweet last Sunday, I believe. But is he going to go into detail? Is he going to announce that crypto, that certain American-made cryptos are going to have some kind of tax implication where they're not going to have taxes on certain capital gains or something like that for crypto? That would be huge for this industry and for the coins that he's talking about. Because imagine if you didn't have to pay capital gains or taxes on your crypto gains. That would be big. I mean, you can pay anywhere from 15 to 45%, depending on where you are, of that gain in taxes. And that would be huge for everyone, in the crypto community. But still out to sea. Now, what am I going to do? Well, I'm probably going to put on today. Today is March 6th, and the summit is tomorrow. I'm most likely going to put on some longs through BTCC. And the reason why I'm doing that, my mouse isn't working. That's crazy. Okay. The reason why I'm going to do that is because it's a trade. It's not a long hold. It's a quick trade. I'm going to play, and this isn't financial advice. Don't even do what I do. If you're going to do something like that and you need a place to trade, check out BTCC. Links down below. It's something that I use. And I'm going to put on a long, low leverage, medium leverage long, actually, more like a 8 to 10x. And I'm going to buy one of those Fab 5, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano, depending on where the market is. I'm going to buy one of those and hold it until the crypto event starts and see if it pumps, and I will sell it if it pumps. And I'm talking about a small, medium risk or medium leverage, high risk trade, maybe a couple $100, and just to be in the market to play the game. And I'm not putting a ton of money towards this because this is a talking event. This is a talking event. Unless action is done, like I see proof, hey, we are buying Bitcoin, or we're transferring Bitcoin from where, from with the held by the marshals to the treasury. If we're transferring Bitcoin, now that would be big. That would be an action. Talk is, hey, we're going to probably do one of these things, or we might do one of these things. But until it happens, the market might pump, but it's going to pull back until it actually happens. And that's what we've seen. Every time there's news and talk, the market pumps, and then it pulls back. It pumped on inauguration day, but it pulled back in the morning, and then it pulled back the rest of the day. I watched it evaporate. I should have sold, but I did not. I should have bought the news and sold the rumor. God, I always get that wrong. Buy the rumor and sell the news. And I'm not telling you to do that, but for my trade, that's what I'm going to do. Now, my other crypto, I'm a buy and hold for the most part. But for trades, I like to look for events like this and play them. That's what I did with stocks back in the day on options, and that's what I'm going to do with futures on crypto through BTCC. That's all I got. I hope we have a great Thursday. I hope you watch this all the way through. And if you did, do me one favor. Hit the like button now if you made it this far. I would love to know that. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, put them down below. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.